Alrighty, where'd we go? Flip around. There we go. What's up, folks? Welcome back. How we doing? It's approximately the second Saturday of February 2025. It is the 8th, 12 a.m., 6 minutes after. And we are pulling on the handle. A little bit of handle pulling here. I actually need to make sure we're dialed in. I'm just now getting back to it. And I've only got a few left of these berries, 55 grain sinkers left. And then we're going to move on to the mixed pulled ones. Work our way down from there. So, just make sure. Got our powder dialed in. You can see I'm using that one. Using that powder. Let's see if we got the comments here. Welcome, folks. Howdy, howdy. Make sure to say hey. What is up, sir? Chat filter. Show me all messages, you stupid app. Mr. Jadkins 87's what up? How we doing? Well, I'd like to be able to show you all of what we're doing, but I can only show you some of what we're doing. You can get the gist of it, right? And it appears our powder measure is dead on. Who'd have thought that the Dylan would have done it properly? I don't want to sound like a fanboy, but I sure do love my blue machine here. Although she's probably due for a little TLC and some maintenance and a little extra, little grease in the wheels. But no complaints on my behalf. Any issues I've ever had with it were user error, believe that or not. A guy named Dummy. Here we go. Got a little gunk there in the primer pocket. Not to worry though. Anyways, yeah, see, user error there. Anyways, what are you guys doing up this late? You guys having a good weekend so far? Do anything fun Friday night? You still up now that it's Saturday? How was your work week? Were you productive? Did you get anything done? Did you at least create the illusion of getting shit done? For any of you Dylan guys, are you on a 550? Do you have a 750? A 1050? What are you running? I just recently learned that there's a basic loader 550, a BL, not an RL, and you run it more like a single stage without the automatic powder measure or priming system. So that'd be kind of cool actually if you're more into the precision stuff. You get a little more control on it by single feeding your primers. And the powder dye, you just use a funnel so you can have your charge master or auto trickler or whatnot pouring out your powders. And then of course you can still seat and crimp or have you can add a case feeder apparently to the 550 these days. That's new. Or new to me, I didn't know that. That's interesting. I think it only works for pistol calibers though. So I saw that on their website. They redid their website lately. So that's interesting, right? Had to do a quick visual to make sure we had some powder there since I stepped away. Anyways, yeah, I really love my 550, but for doing lots of rounds. I think a case feeder or a bullet feeder would really speed things up. However, I've said many times that it's not always about speed. So I thought I had one less bullet, but that ought to do us there. To finish off these berries 55 grain sinkers. Okay, so no more brass. One projectile. And two projectile. Final crimp on the last one. Man, would you look at this? Oh, look at that. She plunks, fellers. She's a plunker. So how much you running this morning? Well, I don't know if it's definitely not going to be this morning, but I'm going to knock out these 2,000 box, well, these 2,000 quantity, 2 boxes of 1,000 quantity pulled / blends from AR. Same place you get the old pull down powders from. And we're using Magtech primers, Lake City Brass. These Magtech primers have these weird little V or something. I figured it would be an M or something else, but Magtech has a V. I don't understand any of that, but we're at like a 2.25 OAL with a pretty gross, heavy factory crimp on there. Just so we can run in the fully binary. Anyways, that is the end of that lot. Here's our info. Berries 55, Magtech, small rifle. And there's our powder overall. Lake City 1X fired. And then I had a few of these 50 grain frangibles left, these brown tips. They're pretty sweet. You can shoot them really close up on steel and they just pop into dust instead of ricocheting back at you. So those are pretty sweet if you're playing on steel up close. 50 grainers, they're like really long though. They sit down in the case like, you know, there's the tip. A 55 grain ends at the neck there. This 50 grainers way in here like a 77 Match King or something. Pretty crazy. But I finally got those done, out of the way, off the shelf. Now it's time to do the mixed box of goods. Mark, what's up, sir? How we doing? CDVS has had them on sale. I've never gotten anything from them, but they're very similar with the pull downs and whatnot. But this is going to be interesting trying to find an overall length that works, because I've got probably 5 different profiles in here. At least they're all 55 grains. Excuse me, pardon me. Oh, you spent way too much at AR last year? Sir, over here I have. I don't want to get into it about spending a lot on AR, but they have some really good deals sometimes. These were 3.8 cents a piece for 1,000. I'll take that for blasting ammo in my backyard. And then I'm going to use these. I'll have some set aside for 308 and some for the blackout. 150 grain soft points. Those are brand new though. Picked up several boxes of those. Oh, let me use my strong hand to close it. Come on now. I'm going to spill these everywhere. I missed it the other day though. They uploaded some, they put up some 243 grain different VMAX varieties I wanted to grab and try. Anyways, I've already got my primer tubes loaded. I'm going to back my seating, well, I'm I'm going to have to probably lower the seating stem. I guess I'll just have to watch out for what profile I'm putting in there. I did sort these though by weight, so I pulled out the, I think, 7 62 grainers that were mixed in there. But these are all 55s, but you can see this one's got a longer boat tail. Some of them are now on the floor, but this one's more of a flat base kind of profile. Ooh, where'd he go? -1. Nope, got him. Got him, don't worry. Don't worry. No, YouTube, I'm not selling or endorsing anything. We're just merely chatting about the Black Friday deals and things, you know, that we chat about. What seating die are we running? I have the standard CBS taper crimp seater that comes in the normal 2-die set. I've had your order thing from AR. Are they decently priced? Yeah, they really are. Especially if it sits for like a week, they cut the prices and you get like 40-50% off of their already low prices. I don't know how they make any money on the powder. If you wait like a day or two and they're still in stock, they go from $200 to like $136 delivered with hazmat and shipping included. That's nuts, man. Mr. Bobby Boy, do we have anything involving gay black men kissing? Nope, that's only at your house, sir. But yeah, it's the best place to get pulled demilled supplies. They usually have primed brass, powder. Primers are usually cheap. Projectiles, so on and so forth. Anyways, I'm going to try a couple of these. See how the overall ink looks, I guess. I will note that with my bulk 223 stuff, I don't trim it. So some of it's really long, probably over spec, some would say. So on stage 1 of the Dylan here, we are slightly expanding that out so I can just more easily plunk them in there. And then stage 4, we factory crimp together. So it looks like some of those ugly Winchester pieces you get from the factory. Anyways, I'll show you here in a few. Go ahead and double check powder while we're getting set back up though. And they say, like, they don't give you load data with these. They say, you know, it's like so-and-so powder. So they call MP 427, it's like accurate 2230. And they just say start 5 to 10% lower than that. So I loaded up 10 rounds from lower than 2230 starting and went up to their maximum. Now I'm a grain lower than the maximum that they listed. And it seems just fine out of the 2 uppers I tested it with. So for me, shooting as cheaply as I can, that is good enough for me. Sorry, I'm getting over a cold. So I got a little runny nose going on. Anybody else get the funk lately? Anybody get the SHOT Show funk? Okay, let's see this overall length. As long as it's under 2.26, I'm okay with that. Bob, you're silly. Why are you into that kind of stuff? We're gonna have to go ahead and we're gonna remove you, sir. Okay. Yep, using M die. Good thinking. Anyways, let me check my OAL to make sure we'll fit into our magazine. Oh, she's even short. We'll take it. So that random bullet I picked worked. see if we got another random one here. Let's try this guy. Double check we have powder, yep. So do you think Trump is going to doge the ATF? He just put out a statement that he's going to have the Attorney General go over everything the ATF's been doing over the last 4 years and go, hey, dog. So that at least means braces are cool to go, right? Is that what that means? Anyways, ugly factory crimp die. We'll verify that. See that ugly line? That means we've crimped our case into our cannula, and it's not going anywhere. So that'll be work for the old binary, you know. Well, I'm gonna have to get a bit of sleep. Have work in the morning at 7. Mr. Dadkins, thanks for stopping in. I appreciate you, sir. You have a good night. We'll see you next time. That would be nice. Hopefully they just realize that the entire, pretty much anything that's anti-2A is infringing on the 2A. So they should learn fairly soon here that all of those laws they've had all this time are actually infringing. So they're void. Especially when an unelected agency gets to decide and write and determine. Oh, hell yeah, these are all coming in pretty much where they should be. I'm just going to be going slow here while I'm verifying the first several different ones. We might be a little heavy on the crimp. Ooh, 222222222. Yeah. Has anybody used these MagTech primers yet? Any experience with that? I'm pretty much seeing everything drop in price, and these are the lowest ones right now. Again, not an advertisement, but if you check out AR, you get a case of 5,000 for, I think, $240, and that's with hazmat and shipping and everything included. So, pretty good deal these days, except, primers are going to come back this year, and Hodgdon powders are going to be more expensive. So Hodgdon's going up and becoming less available, and primers all across the board are going to be more available. Did I say Hodgdon's more available? Less available, sorry. Powder will become more scarce. And that's because China owns the nitrocellulose, and they won't sell to anybody that produces for America or NATO. Keep stepping away from the press to talk, so I have to verify every time I come back where we're at. So we are a dummy after all. Give them the shake test, make sure there's powder. Went down the rabbit hole of black powder recently. I so very much want to do that as well. I'm a fan of the Everything Black Powder channel. I think that's what it's called. A couple months ago, he did a highly detailed, longer length video on his process on creating black powder. Yeah, we might be a little heavy on the crimp, but I'm really not too worried about it. Because again, look, see how they're all pulled? They're all different profiles. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. I'm rolling with it. I just ran all those other berries and everything else. So, as long as we don't have any crazy variations in these bullets, think we're gonna send them. I think we're gonna send them. So we can get in a little rotation here and get some cranking out. Wish I could show you guys the process, but your entertainment service provider isn't too keen on that. Maybe we can turn you a little bit. Maybe we can turn you a little bit. Let's figure out how to use this. Ooh. Yeah, you can watch it fall out into the catcher. They poke holes is all that matters. Yep, that's right. Pardon me, sorry. Yeah, they poke holes, and especially at my distance and my range of like 50 to 75 yards, I'm only running, you know, not anywhere near the max pressure and not anywhere near the NATO spec velocity. These are just meant to hit the other steel thing and make the endorphins in my brain react. I really want to get a shot timer, work on reloading and site acquisition and all that stuff. I already, do some drills for that sort of stuff, but if you have a timer, you can actually track what you're doing, improve, see where you're screwing up. Because otherwise, you're just running around in the yard and it doesn't achieve a whole lot, but it is fun, right? Funny, I talk about trying to reload 223 as cheaply as possible, but I can do it for half the cost with 300 blackout. But, I still really enjoy the old 223. It's quite a fun cartridge. No recoil. It's really flat. Fast. It pokes holes. If you have ballistic tip bullets, it makes water bottles pop really fun like. They go flying and explode. And I can even LARP around in my woods with some camo on and tell myself I'm pretty cool. And that's just not the same, right? Mr. Flame Zombie, welcome, welcome. What is up? Loading some 327 Federal. That's freaking sweet. I have never shot a 32 caliber. Is the only way to get AP 308 reloading? Probably. Flame says gun shows have it sometimes, but crazy expensive. Yeah, probably. I've seen a couple websites with the projectiles for sale, but they're also a couple bucks a piece. So even reloading them, like I've got a 308 case right up here. I need to go test, but we've got brass, a primer, and powder in there already. If you just switch that out for your 150, 180 grain AP round, it'd probably be the same, right? So it's aside from getting the projectile, the cost would be pretty much reloading the same thing. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's a legality thing, right? I actually have no idea on the legality of armor-piercing projectiles, but I will note that they define armor-piercing as monolithic core, as in solid copper or brass, and that's the same as a hunting bullet. So Just go get you a box of Barnes or Lehigh Defense or something like that, and you'll have yourself an armor-piercing rifle round. But I'm not a lawyer, so don't quote me and don't go out and do that, and I'm not responsible for any of that stuff, but it would be fun to note that copper is in fact an AP. Time to learn a new skill set with a lathe. You can make as many as you want. See, that's what I'm saying. You just turn them out of copper or brass or whatever solid monolithic chunk of metal you want. Which always confused me because, like, maybe I think it's you can't have AP in a pistol. That's when it's illegal. But AP in a rifle could be. Again, not a lawyer, but you can do some research and start there. If I'm wrong, you'll get the opposite answer, and there you go. Yep, that was the locator pin. Anybody else running a Dillon? Do you size at the same time and then keep your cases all covered in lube when you store them? Because I'm not all about that life, especially when I said earlier I don't really trim my 223 blasting stuff. But if I were doing something I trim, you can only trim after you full length size. So if you're sizing on stage 1 and then you add a primer and powder, you can't go back to trim it at the same time. So if anybody wants to enlighten me on their process for that instance, I would love to hear your opinions on such things. I'm also out of ammo cans, so if anybody knows a good spot to get some 30 or 50 caliber ammo cans for a decent deal, let me know. I believe it's mostly jurisdictional. Different states have varying law. Yep, that's right. They're not AP, they're miniature paperweights. Duh. Well, these are fishing sinkers, sir, actually. We create lead fishing sinkers here, and this one happens to have a smiley face on him. Size and trim before it sees the Dillon, says Josh. That is the correct answer. See, we have our single stage RCBS right there. You size it and do all the prep, and then you come over here. And then you can see some of them have been trimmed and touched up, but at least swaged and polished from having lube and everything on them. Sorry, I got the tripod just jumping all over the place. Anyways, yeah, fishing sinkers. Let's do a spot check. Primed. Check the OAL. That'll fit in the magazine barely. Huh, that's probably our longest one so far. Excuse me. 2255, but we still give it the old plunker. And that actually looks like a short case or a really high cantilever, depending on that, whatever profile that was. I don't know. These are mixed pulled projectiles. Mixed pulled. So they could have came from 15 different manufacturers. We should actually, it'll be funny if I were a good enough shot, could we test all these random ass projectiles, maybe even sort them out into groups and see how they shoot separately versus, like a 50-shot group of all mixed projectiles. That would be interesting. But I don't really have a good way to tell them apart, except like if I sorted them right now before I load them in the cases. I don't know. SGMO, hidden gem in your town, only sells online. Huh, so can you do just pick up right there, not have to pay for shipping or hazmat or anything? That would be pretty nice. Fortunately, I've got a couple of really nice local stores around me that I can always find my components in. Unless someone online is running a hazmat deal, I'm never paying for that crap. Plus the AR purchases. So far I've got like 95% positive experience with them. But they did lose one jug of powder that was stuck in Memphis for about a month. And then UPS lost it. Well, they probably lost it on day 2, but it took them 5 weeks to admit that it was lost. So not AR's fault that I didn't get that powder, but that's been my only negative experience so far. Oh, and one time the website glitched and I got 2 orders placed back to back, so I got twice as many bullets as I wanted. You can bet that they charged my card twice. But I actually, I probably didn't need to get them both at the same time, but I'm not mad about it. Because I generally keep an eye on it so I know when their prices are better and, Headed out fam time tomorrow. Full hoppers neck. Yeah. You have a good one, sir. Keep a lookout in the mail. Unfortunately, I'm a dummy and addressed it to my real name, so look out for that. And you guys have a good weekend, Mr. Mark. Stay safe out there. Keep your powder dry, fellers. I need to come up with a really stupid outro I say with all my videos. Aside from like, make sure to subscribe, guys. You gotta like keep your powder dry and your heads high and your keep on marching and your chin up and just keep on your boots pulled up and keep plucking away and sorry, I'm retarded. How are the MagTech primers seating? I've been eyeing them for a while. Actually, I don't know if you were around when I bitched about the Gen X primers being horribly over diameter and hard to seat. These feel amazing like CCI. It's smooth butter. If your brass is properly prepped. That's supposed to be Lake City, but it's a Frontier case, huh? Yeah. That one had the crimp cut out, but seated very nice. Very nice. No complaints about MagTech, actually. And they're the lowest ones on the market at the time right now. So if you were on the fence, I would say go for it as far as a cheap import goes. As far as domestic, I don't have a preference. I like Winchesters, I like CCIs, I like Remingtons, but those all cost in the $60 to $70 range still. And MagTech small pistols are in the $39, $40 range. Small rifles are like $42 or something silly. So definitely worth going with. Definitely good to go with the MagTech. Mr. All Things Considered, how are you doing? Are you still under 8 feet of snow? It was almost 70 here a few days ago. Ooh, this is an odd profile. I don't know what bullet this is, but it's got almost a flatter base. And it feels really fat sitting into this neck. So let's, now I got to double check for the powder. Okay, yep. Just making sure, guys. Just making sure. How many times have we pulled a dummy and loaded a squib here live on the internets for you? That's a non-zero number. That's all I'll say about that. Anyways, yeah, it was almost 70 degrees here earlier in the week. It's going to be about 40 tomorrow. And crappy and not cold enough to snow, but cold and rainy through the next week. So that'll be nasty. I wish the groundhog would have said, yeah, man, spring is here. Apparently the groundhog showed his face and said, winter will continue. Which isn't so bad for me in Tennessee. Like I said, it was almost 70 the other day. What the hell's wrong with my chat? I'm sorry, this thing is not scrolling automatically like it's supposed to. What's up, brother? Making some more 9mm frangibles? Hell yeah. Just got done battling a couple thousand Gen X. Thankfully, I am done with the Gen X. I finally got done through all of them. I had 5,000 of each, and it took me almost 3 or 4 years, and I hated them. But so far, loving Magtechs. Totally 10 out of 10 as far as loading experience goes. Snow melted, still a few feet here and there, but snow came out and had to shovel. Snow blow for a couple days. Berms were 5 feet high. That's crazy how, I mean, it's obviously not crazy, but when you blow all the snow off the road and it piles up 10 feet high, how long that sits around. It's been hot and cold here too, ready for spring. Dogs were doing zoomies. Oh, brother. My dogs are definitely getting ready to do the zoomies. And I feel bad for them because we still have to walk them on a leash when we take them out, because now we have all the neighbors' houses built up around us. Most of them have fences, but little Margie was just in heat recently, and we don't want her getting don't want little Marge getting out, you know, finding a buddy. But once we get the barn put up, actually, they're pouring the cement pad tomorrow morning. It's going to be sick if it doesn't pour ass and rain and they have to push it back. But I actually got gravel delivered today, so they're going to push that into the barn for the pad, do the framing, and then hopefully schedule the cement to be poured early next week. And then once that is cured, they can put on the overhead door. Then I can run power to it. Then I'm going to run internets to it. And sirs, I will have a workshop to stream from. All the shenanigans, and it's going to be freaking awesome. I can't wait. Gen X are hard to seat flush. Yes, I freaking hated them. Let me just double check that I'm at. Oh, okay. It's not the end of the world. The only Gen X I have left are large pistol, which were actually really hard to seat in 45 Colt cases. But when I use them for cast rifle, like 308 or whatever, they work pretty well for that. Because a large pistol primer is shorter than a large rifle primer. Thus, if you seat a large pistol primer into a large rifle primer pocket, it will be either easier to get flush or even below. So with them being hard to seat, they were easier to seat in a rifle pocket, if any of that made sense. Oh yeah, spot check it. Boom. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, some of these cases have some little dings in them, but they'll fire form out. And actually, I think these are all. I'm on to twice fired cases. I ran out with the berries. You didn't have problems with the Gen X? You got lucky? Well, good for you. They were a pain in the ass for me, both with 9mm, blackout, 223. They always went bang, though. I will say that. They group well. I never had an issue with that. They didn't screw up any, accuracy or anything crazy like that. They always shot very well. They always went bang. They never failed, but they were hard to seat. A1 says he's never had luck with them. You never had luck loading them, or you never had them going bang? Or what was your issues with it? Congrats on the barn. Streaming studio with GarageBand here. So it's kind of goes well. Barn's going to be kind of all the. Barn's going to be a lot of stuff, mostly workshop and storage for the mower and all that crap that needs to get out of the garage so that we can actually park in there. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to build out a room on the back half of it. And we're going to have ourselves an actual setup with better lighting. I'll be able to mount cameras properly. Hopefully have some a better microphone setup actually, so I can have those placed throughout the room, and depending on where I'm set up, what camera I'm at, we can use those microphones and whatnot. Have different lighting so I can change the colors, get some kind of acoustic treatment to get rid of any sort of shitty echoing or frequency buildups. I'll have a computer set up on one side. Then I'll probably shove a guitar in the other corner. But that, I don't know. You're using the Servicios. I've heard those have worked really well. Those are also, I think those are the only ones cheaper than the Magtex right now. And I forget who was blowing those at, but those were like $189 shipped with hazmat. So if you want some of those, just check Ammo Seek and they'll help you out. Ammo Seek will help you out. I'm glad they actually added the, reloading component search. Because for the longest time, they didn't have that. Gonna need to refill our brass and empty our collection bin. Also getting close to a primer top off. Whenever I do get this crap moved over there, though, I need to give this press a nice deep clean and get everything greased up and dialed in. Every once in a while, the arm doesn't come all the way back to pick up a primer, and then sometimes pushing forward to seat the primer, it seems like the main base plate isn't 100% lined up with the primer cup, which seems kind of weird. So it's not a perfect, but to get in a pretty good rhythm here on my fully semi-progressive press, right? Loading a bunch of 12 gauge lately. That sounds like a lot of fun. I need to get, man, since I moved here, actually, it's been almost a year and a half. I haven't got out my Lee load-all or my mech. Well, the mech's, I got it out, but I put it up again since I moved inside from the garage. But loading shot shells is a lot of fun. What's a decent, cheap brand of primer you should try? You got primers that came out of Greenbox, made in Mexico. Don't know the brand, but they don't like to go bang. Are you talking about the Cervasios that Azazel was talking about up top there? Never got the audio tape. Someday, sir. Someday we'll get it all. Don't worry. I'll do like, we'll do reloading stream and then turn around and do a workout stream, and then we'll do play shitty songs stream all at the same time. It'll be a multifaceted entertainment show, I'll tell you what. You found the crap primer? It's the Cervasios. Yeah, see, that's what I heard bad things about them when they first came out, but then they've been out for a few years, and it seems like they might have fixed that issue. But now, with them being the cheapest on the market, I don't know if they're trying to just offload them because they sucked or what. I don't know. Do you load lead shot or specialty? I've loaded some 12 gauge for prairie dogs, but ended up using a 7.5 for them. Works great with a tight choke. Never considered even prairie dog hunting with a 12 gauge. I guess if you can get close enough to them, wouldn't have an issue with that. But I guess also with a pretty tight choke, you can probably hit them out at 40 or 50 yards. And yes, I also recommend the Magtex there. Where do we get frangibles? When they were around, I got a couple boxes from AR, if you believe that. But I haven't seen them in a very long time. So I did, this was my last bit of them. A couple hundred maybe I had left, but yeah, that's the end of those. As far as the 9mm frangibles, they have 92 grainers, I believe, and 65 grain for a 9mm or 380, sorry. Ooh, this piece looks interesting. I think it's that weird purple Winchester stuff. So, I got a lot of projectiles to load. We got our brass ready to go here, right? But I've got this other bucket. That stuff's only been cleaned. I still have to size everything in the bottom bucket and then remount those pockets. So I am not looking forward to that one bit. Not at all. So hopefully I have enough ready to do those 2 boxes there. Should have enough powder though. I did math. I did my public school math skills, and we should have enough powder. I'll tell you what. Mr. Thorzax, how are we doing this evening? Welcome aboard, sir. Josh is doing number 5 shot for no reason, just because he can. That's a pretty good reason, I reckon. At some point, because right now, because I can cast buckshot and slugs, it's just way cheaper for me to load buckshot and slugs than it is to load game or target loads. But I have looked at getting a shot dripper. Maybe some of you guys can chime in, but they're not cheap to get into, and you run through a lot of lead really quick. So unless you have a source for like reclaimed lead or wheel weights or just a constant source of lead, getting a dripper and building that whole setup is probably not worth it. But it sure does look awesome when you get it rolling. What are you guys loading lately? Josh is on the 12. What else are you guys loading? I didn't see if anybody said anything. We got some 9mm we're working on there. Anybody doing anything exotic? Doing fine. So Johnny is back on. Yeah, I saw him. He was streaming like Metroid or something the other day, chatting it up. And then since I clicked on that one, it recommended all of his 2 or 3 new videos that I also binge watched shortly after that. So good to see him come back every several years. Ooh. I feel like there's obviously, you know, people have their real life jobs and whatnot, but trying to be an internet personality while you have a full-time other job, it's a lot of work. And it's not for me, tell you that much. I do apologize for going through a retarded, let me try and sell shit to you phase, because I'm not a salesman. And I want to be able to say what I want to be able to say. But we're on YouTube, so I can't even do that, regardless of the products we're talking about. Put the bucket back on the lid. There we go. Sorry, got a little rambling there. Sounds like DR's daddy. You're funny. Thinking about selling the shot maker? Not to intrude, but what does a shot maker cost? If somebody were to be looking for a shot maker, Mr. Thor. Ooh, live next to a national forest with lots of ranges. You can sift lead to your heart desire. Yep, I can also go to my range that I've paid for 2 years now, and I haven't gone yet. So I need to go, like, I gotta go and pick up lead to make it worth my membership fee. So far, I'm about 15 months behind on collecting lead compared to membership. But it's a small range. I like the people. They're nice. They support the local schools and let them practice there and all that fun shit. And I should probably participate in their matches and everything like that a little more often. Woo! You know what that means. You know what that means. Time to do the thing. Make sure they all come out though, because every once in a while one will turn and then you'll dump about 50 of them on the floor. Oops. But I've never done that. I wouldn't know anything about that. Where are we going to put that? Where are we going to put that? I like them around the channel just as much as Johnny's. They're both good. Hey, well, thanks. I appreciate that very much, sir. Where'd your old channel go? Your old channel was one of the channels that made me get into reloading. Mr. Axe. Sitting at the bench, chilling, talking about your loading for your grind and making your bolts and shit. I was like, that was cool. Back when they weren't so strict on stuff. I need to figure out where I'm going to put this. Yeah, like I said, I'm out of ammo cans, so if anybody knows a really good spot to find some ammo cans for cheap that don't suck. Wow. Let me know where I can find some ammo cans without sending a link or whatever's bannable on the tubers, but there we go. There we go. Let's do a quick powder spot check after this one. Oh, it's beautiful. It's just always right in there. Mm-hmm. You have tons of shot, more than you'd ever use. It's still there. Yeah, it's still there. I definitely have a couple 100 pounds of ingots that I haven't, uh, even cast into projectiles. Sorry, sinkers. I haven't made any sinkers yet. And yes, lead is cheap from RMR. Did you score some with their, what was it, 11% off Black Friday thing they extended for 3 months? I'm not complaining. But I just got the 60-pound box from them. And that's a hefty number of sinkers, so that's a good supplement to what I've been able to actually cast over the past several long while. Tried Harbor Freight for cans. Dude, I used to have Harbor Freight here in my town, but they tore it down because they were going to move locations. And that was a couple years ago, and they hadn't put the new one up yet. So I remember that they used to. They also had the like Pelican case knockoffs. Those full-size rifle cases also work really well for guitars, for TSA traveling, and lock them up and fly them in those. And they're like 1/8 of the cost of a Pelican. So that's good. You know how much time I could save if I didn't have to pick up the brass. And I had a case feeder. All I had to do was set the bullet on there. I could save like at least 1/8 of a second per pull of the handle, right? No, I'm just kidding. It's not about speed here, children. We are not racing. But if you were to upgrade from the 550 to the 750, that's all you would get is the case feeder. Stop doing videos. Your channel was about what you knew and shared, and you ran out of material. See that? Like, I don't want to say I got, what do you call it? Burnout. Experienced some of that, but then I ran out of shit to say. Like, I just feel like I was, I was just rambling a lot. It'd be 30 minutes of me just talking into the air. And I know there's a couple of you guys that would watch it, but I didn't feel like I still don't feel like I'm putting out very good content these days. But the live stream is kind of a different atmosphere. I don't really call this content. This is just like I would be hanging out doing this on my own right now, and it's just fun to have people to talk to. So I appreciate you guys being here. YouTube channel can be expensive. You have to bring in new things to the table to keep it going. You have to watch it. Yes, sir. That's definitely a syndrome of running a channel, is trying to be you got to be the first one to post that, to have that search result to come up first, and you got to be the first one with it. And if you're not first, you have to do it way fucking better and somehow convince people to watch it for longer and like it more with way of hitting the clicky thing. And then you have to do stupid stuff like thumbnails and like I just sometimes it's fun to like do an art project and kind of go out of your way with the graphics and transitions and the artwork side of it, but like for the most part I don't have a lot of those skills. I'm not a videographer as some would say. You know, I'm not getting those slow close-up rolling B-roll shots and zooms and all that. I'm not good at that. I just ramble about shit. But every once in a while, it's fun to try to do that. It's fun to do that, right? Got a case here about a month ago. Very worth. See, I feel like that's how I would feel about it. But I feel like if I would just upgrade to a 750, I'm barely upgrading from the 550, so I would have to convince myself that I now need the 1050. And I would quite enjoy that, actually. 1050 has a built-in swaging. You can attach the trimmer, so you can decap, swage, size, trim. That also chamfers and deburrs, and then you can do a neck mandrel, bullet seat, crimp. I think you've got eight stages to do all kinds of stuff with. So that would be fun to have a 1050, but I really don't shoot that much. I'm obviously not a commercial loader, so it would be hard to justify a $2,500 press. You know. Yeah, what case feeder did you go with? I like your rambling, you're a funny dude. Well, thank you, Mr. Axe. Sorry, I just go off the deep end sometime. Did you see Dylan's new bullet feeder? That thing looks sick. Because I'm pretty sure you've always had to find like a third-party Mr. Bullet feeder or something. But they just recently at SHOT Show released maybe they've always done a bullet feeder, but this is a newer bullet feeder meant for your like long 30 cal and 7mm huge VLD long bullets rather than like fat pistol bullets that I guess they've always been able to do. Anyways, new Dylan bullet feeder looks sweet. Hornady pistol bullet die works well in the Leafer rifle. Skills shows how you put things seriously, however funny. Well, I try to make it like, obviously I'm not a comedian or an entertainer, but my boring monotone voice needs to have something in it, right? I also wish I didn't have to point this away so I could read it. Your 550 makes more ammo than you can shoot. It's a safe speed. Yeah, I quite enjoy my 550. I don't need to go any faster. I certainly don't need a 1050. Like I said, I would load all of my ammo and I would have no components left, and I'd be like, oh well, that was, now what? But with this, you can, you know, crank out a few hundred an hour pretty reliably, and changeovers are pretty quick, even to go from large to small primers. That's like an extra minute or two in the process once you get it down, which honestly I have never changed my priming system on the 550, but I have loaded 308 on it. But I just use pre-primed brass, go into a neck mandrel, and then powder seat. Well, powder through a funnel die, and then seat, and then no crimp, because bolt action. maybe if I got another press, it would just be another 550 for 9 mil, or just do a 750 dedicated to 9 mil, because that's probably my, well, probably load more 300 blackout than anything, but if I were casting more, it would probably be 9 mil. Small pistol primers are the cheapest around, most economical to load. You know, an average of maybe 5 grains of powder for 9 mil. You know, depending on your powder, you could be as low as 2 or as high as like 7 grains, depending on your projectile and powder. But yeah, 9 mil is way economical to load if you cast for it. Didn't know there was a different feeder. See, I could be talking out of my ass. I don't know if there was an older one or if they just came out with one, but the whole point of it was that it was good for the long, pointy VLD bullets. So I could have misspoken, but Dylan has a new bullet feeder. I just don't know what it does compared to what it didn't do. You have the Mr. Bullet feeder. Their support is way better, but you don't need to change. Interesting. You've got the 750, right? Set up for 9 mil. Probably load that up. Mr. Tim, how you doing, sir? Welcome aboard. I got a pretty monotone voice. You ain't got to sugarcoat it none. Definitely not like Eeyore, but it's it can get pretty stale and if I just go into some little ranty bit. But anyways, thanks for hanging out, everybody. Make sure to say hey in the chat there if you haven't already. Like on the little video there so everybody else can see it, and then we'll do YouTube stuff, even though I can't show you on YouTube. I've also been really lazy about dual streaming with the Twitch and the other camera, but like I was saying, here this summer when I get this sinking barn project going, or finished, it's been going, but I'll have an official stupid streamer guy space. And hopefully either get some kind of camera set up outside that I can run through the window or cable or something, or some kind of wireless webcam, because I want to be able to set up a bench right outside and just shoot at my 100-yard target like a real American. I mean, can you call yourself a real American if you can't shoot out your backyard at your 100-yard target? Sorry, of course you can. I'm very blessed to be in the position I am. But I'm not sharing it with any of you. Anyways, yeah, I want to be able to stream and then go like, all right, we're switching cameras. Let's go out and test fire or whatever. So it should be pretty fun someday. Because I might understand how to like wire speakers in a PA system, but I'm not an electrician, so figuring out how to do the interior, all the outlets and everything, that's going to be a lot of fun. Then we got to insulate, Still not sure if we want to do the spray foam. Once we get everything wired and all that, I think you just spray foam over everything. I'm probably ignorant about everything I'm saying regarding any of this construction work, but run all the wiring, insulate it. Probably just get a crappy little air unit air conditioner. I don't know if that'll be enough to keep up. But then yes, insulate it so I can work out there at least in the winter. And if I have to open the doors and stuff in the summer, then I gotta do that. We shall see though. Yep, you got the 750 set up for 9mm case for your bolt feeder. Hell yeah, brother. Casting's the way to go, and you see how much of a rip-off jacket of bullets are. Yeah, I feel like I've never been like, I'm so glad I bought that 115 grain full metal jacket to load in 9mm for 12 to 13, 15, 20 cents. That's just ridiculous for loading 9mm. You can cast for, you know, 1/8 of a penny if you even buy the lead, right? Been loading for about a year now. That's cool. Friend of yours got you in reloading. Say I'm still pretty new at it, still learning stuff, but you've got a 750 and a case feeder. Mainly load 9 and 5.56. Yeah, you really don't need anything else other than that for 9 or 5.56. Yes, Mr. Forzax, we are in fact reloading the 223 Remington case here today, sir. With the mixed pulled 55 grains, mixed Lake City and other military brass. We got a pretty gross Leaf Factory crimp die going on there to hold them in for the old binary fire and fun stuff. If you can't see, it's hiding back here. We've got the pull down MP427 powder. We're running mag. Oh, hey, look. Free ammo. We're running the MagTech small rifle primers. And then, yeah, we got the pulled mixed 55 grainers there. Yeah. Saving money, practicing marksmanship, and you can't lose anything by reloading. Yeah, as long as you're safe, you don't blow anything up. Excuse me. You can't lose by reloading. And like everybody's, when do I start? When is the good time to start? Should I start now? Should I wait till the next shortage? And my thought is, you're going to shoot for the rest of your life, right? Like this isn't a hobby you're going to be over with in 3 years, and you're going to sell off your guns, get rid of your safe, and sell all your remaining ammo, and you're just going to get out of the hobby. I don't think it works like that. You're probably going to shoot more, get more invested. You're going to spend more time with it, and you're going to be reloading this entire time. The amount of factory ammo I've purchased in the last 5 years is probably less than $100 worth. Maybe a couple boxes of like 450 Bushmasters because I didn't have brass, and maybe 350 Legend or something when brass wasn't available. So when you can pick up your brass off the floor, it's free. You can reuse it several times. Yeah, reloading is cheap, and you're going to have all your brass from everybody that shoots and knows you reload because they don't. You're going to do it for your whole dang life. So it's not just like a savings right now, cost up front to pay off the press, and then you broke even, and then you sell all the shit because you made one batch of ammo. It doesn't work like that. You're going to have this stuff forever, son. You're into it now. You're into it now. That's what I'm talking about. You started it. You got to finish it. Sorry, that was a long rant. Someone clip that, make that into a new video. There's your content right there. But yeah, all the arguments for starting reloading. How much do I save? Well, if you shoot 100 rounds a year of 338 Lapua at rhinoceroses, you could probably save some money if you got a Lee hand press. But if you go out and you buy the Area 4190 and it's $1,500, and then you get some custom dies that are $200 a piece because they've got a piece of carbide in them, then you're not going to save ammo, right? Reloading is the other side of accuracy. It's just as important as knowing your firearms. Yeah, exactly. And like, obviously this is just cheap bulk volume, essentially spam cam load as much as you can kind of thing. But I bet it's cleaner and it's probably safer. I'm not at the max pressure like a factory load would be. I'm not going to be blowing out primers. It's going to function in all my guns. It's not going to be overgassed. I tested it in 2 or 3 uppers with different gas systems, different barrel lengths, so you can see how they eject, all that fun stuff. See how the primers either flatten or don't. See if there's any ejector marks on the case heads. All guns are different, so if you just find a mix that works for several of them, if you're doing the volume game, that is, then that's all I'm going for. Make sure it works, make sure it's safe. Save, well, you're not going to save any money. You're just going to shoot a whole lot more. That's the argument, is that you shoot a lot more. 1,000 rounds of 5.56 is still almost $500, isn't it? Just a random guess. Let's do some quick math, right? Let's say, you know, the case of PMC ammo is still $500, I believe. Your standard X-Tac 55 grain M193 or whatever these projectiles probably came out of. Let's call them 50 cents a shot. Well, brass is free, right? We don't have that cost. You picked it up at the range. You put a primer in it. Those are down to about, I don't know, 4 to 6 cents, depending on where you get them. If you paid for shipping or hazmat or whatever. But if you buy them right and in bulk or whatever, you can get the price down to maybe 4 to 6 cents a piece. Ooh, random PSD piece snuck in there. If you shop around, projectiles, these are as low as 3.8 cents a piece. So 4 cents for a primer, 4 cents for a projectile. And then the powder was also on sale. Again, hard to find deals like that, but if you're willing to do some load work up and shop around and work with unknown pulled powders, $138 delivered, maybe 134, 136, somewhere in there. That's what the shipping and hazmat delivered. So you're looking at we'll just say 135 for 8 pounds. And now I can't do math with numbers this large, but 24 grains going into 56,000 grains of powder. That's 7,000 grains times 8 pounds is 56,000 grains. It's a little over 2,200 rounds, or maybe 2,400, I believe. So, if you buy $80 worth of bullets, call it $100 worth of primers, we're at $180, and then 135 we said, that's $215 for $315. You can load 2,000 rounds of 223 compared to buying 1,000 rounds of PMC whatever for $500. Wow. Wow, would you look at that? We mathed it out. So anyways, yes, reloading, you can still save a shit ton of money. Sorry, I have to keep coming back to read all this chat. Doop-a-doo. Shooting and reloading costs money, but you want to enjoy your hobbies more. Yep, to me, it's just an extension of it. Like, shooting is fun. Cleaning my gun is kind of fun, but reloading for my guns is really fun. Does your receiver extension and deflector mark up your brass? No, not really. I haven't noticed it. I do notice there's like brass obviously deflecting off of the deflector, but I often have a brass catcher, so it lands in there, but I'm also not at the top ends, and they're not just getting kicked out as hard as possible. But sometimes on my 300 blackout, actually, it hits perfectly right on the case mouth is where that deflector is sticking out. Make a bullet trap for your cast bullets, collect them, melt them down for new bullets. Sir, I believe you're onto something. I'm actually, again, with the barn project, my range out there, I've got pretty much a straight shot. I've got kind of cleared out, so I've almost got my steel targets where I want them. And so directly beneath the steel targets, we can pick up plenty of projectiles that have been expelled from reloading. Powder check. Oh wow, it's exactly on the spot like it should be every time. Nothing like this good old Dillon powder measure and a ball powder. I don't want to keep saying Dillon's the best at everything, but the powder measure is probably the best powder measure, even with an extruded stick powder. I still think the Dillon powder measure is the best. I'm open to suggestions, but I've tried several others. Didn't know you can reuse pulled powder. How do you know what the powder is? So, I don't have any idea what the powder is, but I just have to trust them that the data they put on here and on their website is accurate. So, they just randomly say what came out of it was 25 grains, and they pulled it from a 55 grain load. And in their test gun, that charge with that bullet gave them that velocity. And then on the website, it says like 2230. So I put a little label on here, and they say reduce 5%, but I like to not blow my gun up. We'll start a little bit lower. So I just worked from like 20 to 25 grains. Found a load that worked in several uppers. And now we're rolling. Don't forget tan and antimony for casting. Yes, sir, that's right. Luckily, most of my range scrap came from bullets. So it's not like I'm starting with pure lead and adding up to an alloy. I already have a bullet alloy. And if anything, I'll just drop in a little tin nugget or, something along those lines. Maybe a little chunk of linotype or something if I need to harden it up. But honestly, 95% of my cast shooting is 1,800 feet per second and under. If I can't find it, within that velocity range, 12 to 1,800, I'm either using the wrong powder or the wrong bullet, or something's funky if I can't figure it out. And if I want to run faster than that, that's what jacketed loads are for, dummy. luckily, with something like a 300 blackout, you don't have to go any faster than 1800. So I can actually load 150, 160 grain bullet. I'm thinking I'm running those at 1650. And that's a super low pressure load, very easy on the brass. It's a cast bullet, so there's no cost into it. From range scrap, there's no cost into it. If you were to buy lead, obviously, then it costs probably 2 cents, I would think. And then I'm only using maybe 12 grains of whatever powder that is, so it's half the cost of powder compared to 223. So that's probably why I said earlier that I load and shoot that 300 blackout. Because it's low pressure and you don't have to buy the projectile. And there's a lot of overlap with the powder selection with like 357 Magnum and other cartridges I was already loading. Where do you get this new boogie powder? Oh, it's part of the American reloading. I mean, I guess it's technically Midwest Powders, which is, I guess that's where the MP comes from. I don't know if they produce it or if they just pull it down and know how to label it based on its burn characteristics or what they do in that process. But their name is on it. Spot check overall length. Oh yeah, 2.245. As long as we're in mag length, I don't care if it's plus or minus 20 thousandths with mixed projectiles. That one's perfectly at the top of that cannelure where I would want it anyways. We'll take it. Make sure I put powder in there. Okay, gotta double check. That was a toit pocket there. Apparently I'm in the mixed section of brass because it was supposed to be Lake City. I've seen some PMC and some Federal floating by. Oh well. That's also another thing. If you're just now getting into reloading, a lot of people are all about sort your brass out, right? You got to make sure you only have the same head stamps. And I will tell you, that is very good advice. It aids in accuracy and consistency and all that if you start with the same case, right? They have a chance to have a much closer internal volume than if you pick two different head stamps altogether, right? So that's where a lot of consistency can come from. But if you're not at the maximum pressure and you happen to run into a case with a smaller volume, that's okay with mixed head stamps. If that made sense. It's okay to mix head stamps if you're significantly below maximum charge and you've even tested them to where several head stamps act and behave the same, you know? And really the only difference is they would be vertically stringing based on the velocity change based on their case capacity. So it would be fun to load up, pretend the projectiles were the same, but load up, 100 rounds of as mixed brass and head stamps as you could get, and then sort them out into like groups of 5 or so. See how they group like that with matching head stamps, and then shoot like a 20 round group with 20 different head stamps and see what that looks like. That would be fun, right? All the same powder, all the same bullet, all the same primer, but mix up the cases. How does that charge behave in that different amount of volume, essentially. Lots of stuff to test, right? Not enough time. I need to be like Gavin and just have like 4 other people make videos on my channel for me, and then he just goes and makes guns now and doesn't even do the reloading side of it, which is actually pretty cool. Good for him, expanding his business, and he's really into the precision and rifle building stuff now. So you see his channel evolve as his personal interests evolve. So that's pretty cool. But at one time, his channel was just a measly review and tutorial channel of much higher quality than mine. I'm not speaking bad about it at all, but now the Ultimate Reloader is not just Gavin. There's 3 or 4 guys on the crew now, and they're going all over the territory, not just reloading. Most wheel weights, 2% tin, 4% antimony, 92% lead. It's good enough for pistol. Never thought of that as far as mixed head stamps go. Yeah, I mean, they're generally NATO head stamps. They're supposed to be thicker walls, so they have less capacity, but they're supposed to be stronger to withstand, machine guns ripping through the action and whatnot. I believe so. I could be wrong. Please correct me if that is the case. Wheel weights are unobtainable for me. Your range scrap is anywhere from 12 to 16. Yeah, my range scrap's probably like an 8 to 12, probably right in there. I would just call it a 10, a safe 10. And that's perfect for pistol stuff. And with powder coating, it also seems pretty much perfect for anything I've been doing. I will admit, though, I haven't gotten a load to function through the AR and run worth a damn, because that would obviously cost more for a harder alloy. So then I'd be spending money. And if I have to go buy linotype for like $5 a pound, your cost per round is increasing significantly. And at that point, I could have spent 5 cents on a pulled full metal jacket and push it at 3,000 feet per second and not be limited by my lack of antimony or my alloy hardness or whatever the case may be. And you could probably even get that sucker up to like 20 or 25, and it would still get boogered up hitting the feed ramps coming up into the chamber. So I'm not completely sold on chasing the cast 223 AR loads. At one point I dreamt of it, but not today. MP 570, only one in stock. It's 400 for 16 pounds. Yeah, that I saw that earlier. They came out. They had a couple others, but usually, I bet if that one's still up in a day or two, it'll come down. They'll take like 40% off of it or something. But I think that is their. It says it's like 2,700, I think, which is great for 270 or like your Creedmoor style cases or burn rate. Probably your 30-06, you could get away with it. Some of your Magnum cartridges, I bet it would be good for if you load any of that. If I'm casting rifles, I buy linotype from Rotometals or Zip Metals. You can cast up a lot of rifle bullets out of 5 pounds. It's cheap and in the end for that. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely cheaper than jacketed. And yeah, even at 5 pounds, like you said, it's quite a bit of bullets. And it's fun. It's a good skill to have. You like the foundry and the super hard, you just need a little. You cast extremely hard and powder coat and soften them to 18 to 20. Huh. Gavin seems to show a lot of high-end stuff now and forget about the regulars. Gavin tube, I don't know, it's an infomercial for me, but it's the best. Get rid of. Yeah, I mean, he's obviously doing his thing, so good for him, but it's not my style. He's obviously being successful at it, so good for him. But again, not quite my style. My hair doesn't look as good. Tim, you have a good night. You've probably been off for 5 minutes now, but have a wonderful evening, sir. Yeah, so we about need to refill our brass and empty our projectiles. Probably top off our powder here. And we'll probably need to do the primers as well. So once I run out of brass here, we'll just top everything off. Who was it? You're probably not even online, but I took a picture of pretty much this scene of the bench, and someone was like, "You stole my powder," referring to the pull-down powders on the website. And then we were joking, and I asked him his load data, and he said the exact same recipe that I landed on before I asked him that. So that's good to know that similar results can be found from somewhere else in the world. I can't remember the commenter, but that was a nice little exchange. And I'm sorry you didn't get your powder. But now you can experience it vicariously through me. We'll go to the range, I'll fire some off, I'll smell it, and I'll be like, nothing smells better than that fresh MP427 that so-and-so wasn't able to get a hold of that one time. I'm just kidding, I wouldn't do that. I would never do that. I might, but maybe one day it'll just be like an ongoing joke with myself. I'll keep bringing up, because whoever that commenter was might not ever see the live stream. But it'll be fun to me. Ooh, it's gonna make a noise. Get ready for it. All right. And one more tube here, and then we gotta, not that tube. There we are. Oh shit, do I have two of them full? Nice! Still have 2 tubes to fill, or dispense. Yes, yes. Probably be going for another hour or so, and then I have to got to get off and make wife breakfast at 3 in the morning. She works crazy hours. But we got another hour and a half in us. Okay, almost out of brass. Like I said, I was going to refill everything else. Got to double check for powder because I moved some stuff. Okay. Okay. All right. Be funny to just stroll up to the range with the big old jug and dump it all over your AR and hope it went in. Says like accurate 27. Where do you get the pulled singers from? Sir, it's on the same site. So if you're on their homepage, it'll show all the categories, or further down, you can go to shop all. And then if you go to all, you can select in stock only, and it will go by diameter from smallest to largest. Yeah, you're right. Good for him. He was getting back something he was after for all his hard work. Nothing against Jews. No way to go. Yep, I agree. Good for him. It's just not my. It's not my flavor of coffee, brother. I'm about 200 more rounds to 3K 9mm. Sir, you are pumping them out. You got me beat. I've only done like 200 today. But 3K, that'll last you a nice couple range trips, right? Always good to stay positive. Nice to see people succeed in their passion. Yeah, I agree. In general, I'm a really negative person, but I'm aware of it, so I try not to be. And I think it was the Primal Rights channel. I think his name is Greg. Looks like an awesome dude. If you want to go learn how to be a really good shooter and reloader, go check out the Primal Rights channel. But he had a really good, not conversation, but spiel on one of his videos about not having to talk down about other people's products and content and whatever, because his, the things he does well outshines the downfalls other people have. So there's no point in pointing out how stupid shit is when you can just praise the things that are good. And that way everybody wins, because you don't have to talk about the people that suck. And if you go further than that, the crappy negative people that are actually out to be a troll or whatever, they'll eventually weed themselves out. They'll expose themselves for what they really are. So, doesn't do me any good to talk down about somebody because they do something differently than I do. Especially if they're more successful than I am. Then I just look like a fucking moron. I mean, I probably look like a moron anyways. I'm just an idiot rambling on the internet. I'm really nobody of any authority. Anyways, long story short, don't talk bad about people. They'll figure out ways to expose themselves. If there was even anything bad to truly talk about. My opinion isn't necessarily an objective observation, as to whether I personally like another YouTuber in a similar space. Who am I? Just a dummy. That's all I am. Anyways, yeah, highly recommend the Primal Rights channel. Primal Rights did a video on how to clean a barrel. Did you see that one? Yeah, wasn't he making fun of people that are like, you can't go in from the crown, it'll damage it. And, obviously a barrel is hardened steel, where your cleaning brush is maybe bronze or brass or nickel or whatever. Much, much softer than the steel of your barrel. So he just cranks on it with a drill at high speed and then goes out and shoots, a quarter-minute group better than his last group before he did all that or whatever. So That was funny. I like that. A couple of trips to the range. They go fast with the fast reset triggers. Ooh. See, I have a binary. I don't have a resetting trigger. I should have gotten one when they were on sale over the Black Friday sales or whatever. I think I saw them down to 400 maybe. $400 or $500. But I bet this summer, unfortunately, we're going to be in another Trump slump for the gun industry. So that means everything's going to be really cheap. Everything's going to be really cheap. Spilled a little shot. Uh-oh. Shot splitters everywhere here. Favors. Yeah, I luckily haven't loaded any shells inside here. So I haven't lost a whole lot of shot inside, but whenever I move the garage out to the barn, I'll probably find a few pounds of shot behind that desk. Shoot, I need to fill up my powder. Make sure that one dumped. Perfect. With the ram in the fully raised position. Powder funnel. Powder funnel where? Powder funnel behind press somehow. Wow, okay. Woo. I couldn't tell you what powder this is actually like because I didn't ever have any 2230, but I used a lot of Exterminator, which is identical. Ramshot Exterminator and Accurate 2230 are the same. And this data did not match up where I actually tested it. So that's another good reason to always work up with a new lot of powder. All right. Now that our powder column is heavy again, we'll test this charge here. Okay, index, rotate, powder check. Oh my God, it's so consistent. Can't complain, it's just so freaking consistent. A nice fine ball powder. It does look a lot like Exterminator, but I hit pressure signs about 2 grains lower than with this, so I don't think it's the same. Tell me you are an inspiration that really community really amazing. That sincerely channels about doing without costing $1 and being satisfied. Dude, I appreciate that. I appreciate your comments, sir. Yeah, I'm just here to have a good time. I'm not trying to be I don't know. Like I said, I'm not an actor, so you can tell. I think I just totally missed getting half of that into the funnel. Let's re-pour that one. Let's redo that one. Or, well, I already indexed, so I'll just have to insert this primed one back in instead of putting a new one up. So I'll make sure it didn't. Okay. We're good there. We'll pull him out. He has not been primed yet. Okay. You got to make sure that when you're pouring your powder through the funnel that the neck is fully seated into the recess. Otherwise, you dump the powder. What a dummy! So now I've got an empty stage 3, and we're already primed here, but we have to run up here to charge powder, and we are primed already. Perfect. Back on task now. Double check. We got a nice throw of powder. Everything is all right, folks. We didn't dummy it up. We did not dummy it up. All right. We got all the bases loaded, brass, powder, primers, bullets topped off. Let's try and crank a little bit of these out here. I also can't wait for the new sort of, whenever I get the stream setup going, I want to have a monitor where I can actually see the chat, so I don't have to look at my phone and read from the thing that's doing the broadcasting. Because I want to have it set up how the Twitch stream looks, so you can see the side chat, and then eventually have a couple different camera angles we can switch between. Audio mixer, maybe a wireless lavalier mic that can follow me around. Because just getting some room mics, that gets really noisy. And I would have to like talk directly towards those microphones rather than, you know, staring at the press like I am, and this ambient noise of the press is probably louder than my voice if we were to point a microphone at the two of them. So a nice close-up mounted lav mic attached to me would probably be the optimal choice. Maybe we can even have two streams. I'll mic up the press, and that'll be the stupid ASMR channel for the people that just want to go to sleep. And you can just listen to the sweet sounds of progressive ammunition manufacturing. But then you'd hear me talking in the background, and it would sound like, it would sound silly. Oh yeah. So although I am loading up this big value lot of ammo here, I have a bunch of mixed other stuff I have to shoot through first. Because back during the beginning of the stupidity and shortages, you know, I'd get 2 or 3 pounds of a powder at a time. And then I would want to try something else, so I'd get 2 or 3 pounds of that powder. And soon you're like, I got 10 pounds of powder here. Wow, I can load a lot. Except, you know, you only have 2 or 3 pounds of any given powder. So those are all going to be essentially different lots of powder. Even if you can find, you know, if you can find the same velocity node with each powder, they would probably still have different points of impact. They would be different amounts of gassy, so they would function differently. They could beat up the cases differently if they're overgassed. And then you're just going to lose a lot of consistency trying to shoot the same group with 4 or 5 different powders. So since then, and things have become more available, I've been opting for the larger 8-pounders. So you can do at least 2,556 rounds at 25 grains. a shot. So, long story short, I've almost straightened out my powder cabinet to where I don't have 17 varieties of the same burn rate of powder. Although it is fun to test and do some different measurements and testing and whatnot, once you kind of get a feel for a good powder for a specific cartridge or a bullet combination, or there's just some powders that are better at everything that they do than other powders are. Like for instance, Varget is a very popular powder similar to this burn speed. So if you wanted to use Varget, it's very popular, but it would be very different than using a bunch of different lots of a bunch of different stuff. Long story short, find one that you like, do a little testing, try a few things, and then, stick with what you found stick with what works for you. There's no need to keep testing and reinventing the wheel if you find a good recipe. Have we ever used the Dillon carbide rifle dies? Man, they are expensive. They really are expensive, and I've never actually used them, but every time I read about them, everybody says that they're waiting for carbide. Like, you can go and get the steel ones anytime you want, but they are actively waiting to use the carbide. I've heard it, pretend you're just loading 9mm. You don't really need to lube those cases or whatever. It's pretty smooth. There's no strain in the handle. That's how it feels doing like a 223 or a 308 through a carbide die, from what I hear. It's just a lot smoother, a lot less wear. After a long session, there's less fatigue. It's just a smoother operation, but you still have to use lubricant for your carbide rifle dies. So if you're loading tens of thousands of rounds on a progressive, perhaps carbide could be for you. Haven't tried carbide rifle. I find you still have to lube the cases. Yes, you sure do. I think a lot of companies are making rifle carbide. Yeah, they are. They really are. I think Redding has one. RCBS definitely does. Lyman definitely does. I've never heard of treble dies. Excuse me. Let me drink some coffee to dry out my throat a little more. You want to use small base dies or the anti-trim hold down dies? Yeah, we'll talk about small base dies here in a second. We'll talk about small base dies here in a second. All right, so the orange bucket here. The orange bucket, I just had to resize and wash all that. It's now twice fired, getting loaded up right now, right? I started off with this die right here, okay? And I've always been using this lubricant that I've been using for years, the lanolin alcohol mixture. I've never had an issue with it, except for this die right here. So, there's my RCBS small base die, if that answers your question. And I was really cranking him out, moving right along. And this was a low pressure, twice fired round. And it still ripped the rim off there. So, we switched to the crappy, cheap Lee die that everybody hates. and I didn't break the pin. I didn't do anything except decap and resize another 3,000 pieces flawlessly without any issue at all. So I know lead eyes get a lot of hate, but I just can't hate them when this happens. Notice I already have this broken pin in here because I've already done this before, and you have to drill this out, which destroys the decapping pin, which will often destroy the whole rod. So you got to get this whole part again once you can finally pop that sucker out of there. So yeah, for me, I've never had a gun require the small base die. I just thought everybody said, you need that if you got a few different ARs to make sure it's good. But I have, I think, 7 AR uppers. There's no issues with the lead die. So, long story short, I don't have a need for this at all. No need at all. Okay. So, long story short, lead dies work for me for my cheap, crappy bulk ammo. I really like that you're not trying to sell anything. You know, I'll admit I tried to for a couple months and I felt like a jackass every time I put out one of those videos. So thanks for sticking around through that awkward phase in the book of dummy. Like a video of you in prone. You squeeze the trigger. Hear the crack of the shot and the video stops. Voiceover and said, did he pull his face off or didn't he? You're going to have to buy my book to find out. Just wait until next week when we find out if the perpetrators actually use the funding from USAID or not. Stay tuned until next Monday when the crazy Nazi president fires a bunch of people who are working on their laptops from a lazy boy. I'm going to start getting all political again, but it's been a nice 2 weeks, I'll have to say that, right? Can we say it's been a nice couple of weeks here, fellers? I really wish I could freely talk on YouTube. Because I got some spicy shit to say. But I don't know why I think anybody would want to hear it. But once again, I'm a nobody. And I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said, but what I want to say can't be said on this platform. So I'll just shut up and we'll say it's been a nice 2 weeks. We'll see how things continue. I really need to, whenever I move all this shit into the barn, I need to figure out how to make a little awesome ramp for this to like roll down here and, you know, into this bucket here so I don't have to empty that into that every time. For sale everywhere. If your bookstore doesn't have it, demand it. He does always treated you well. Yeah, I've not had any issues. They're obviously not the highest quality. And actually, I have had issues with the 350 Legend set that came out right when the cartridge was released. So I think it was part of their first series of those that came out that they've since fixed. You try leaving it in the press, loosening the capper rod, and hammering it out. Yeah, I could definitely get it out. I was just not wanting to play with it at that current time, and I just swapped dies and forgot all about it until you brought it up, mister. But yeah, you could, well, the mandrel would be stuck in the case, and that won't unscrew from the rod. So you'd have a rod flopping around with the mandrel, but you could loosen this up top here and potentially hammer downwards and move that up and hammer downwards and move that up and do that, but it would still, probably destroy the rod. So I could unstick the case, but I don't know if I could salvage the pieces to keep using the die without the spare part. I just say I was going to do a spot check. Spot check. Oh yeah, beautiful primer there, folks. If you didn't see it earlier, MagTech primers have little tiny V's on them. There it is. They're very, very fire. Very, I don't know. They go bang from what I can tell. So here's our seated case without the crimp. You can see that little bit of flare on the neck still. We got to close him up, which is what happens when it's on stage 4. Whoop. And we can see that case mouth. Nice little crimp there to close up that thing, dude. And then we'll just check the old flibba flabba flu. Excellent. And check the powder. Once again, since we topped it off and the powder column's been settling down, it's a perfect, don't want to give you the number because this isn't a tutorial, YouTube. Don't ban me. Okay, so anyways, it seems like we are dialed in here, folks. We're dialed in here, folks. The U.S. Air Force needs more A-10s. Yeah. Guys, I can go off the paths of what I've seen. All the gun stuff will come down. Fear-mongering over and sales will slow up. Just be ready to stock up. Yep. As soon as, boom, primers. They're about at the 3-cent mark. We're almost back to like 2019 $150 case of primers. Yeah. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. The market's almost there, and when it is, I'm going to get a bunch of them. Because just because it's been a nice 2 weeks doesn't mean you should still not be prepared and stocked and have supplies on hand in case of other things. In case of other things. Yeah, they can't eat what they've been sitting on selling for outrageous prices. Fear is going away. Man, I can't imagine how much money some of these places are going to lose when they've been sitting on whatever number of primers they have, and they've been, whatever, you shop online, 70 to 120 bucks for a brick of primers, right? We'll call that the average for like all of last year. 70, 80 bucks probably. That means that they bought them at a high price, so they have to sell them that high to make any money. And then you see other stores pop up and they're able to sell it at half the price. That means that they bought it at a much lower cost because they don't have to mark it up to $80 to make their money back. They can mark it up to $50, and they maybe even doubled their money on that. So the people that have been sitting on them, trying to slow trickle it and capitalize and take advantage, hopefully, maybe not hopefully, again, I'm not wishing ill on them and their business, but the market will right itself here very soon. We'll put it that way. They're going to have to come down. If people are selling them at the $30 mark, they're not going to buy them for $80. So something's going to have to happen. You're going to have to buy them in at that $30 mark and get your average cost down. But the customer's not going to know that. They're just going to say, oh, they're still $10 higher than everybody else. What the hell? And that's why, because they bought in 3 years ago. They slow trickled them out. And their average cost is still too high. Unless they buy in a lot at whatever lower price is happening now. And I feel like since Vista, 9mm, Blazer and CCI stuff, that crap has been way cheap. I've seen it 2,000 rounds, 219 or whatever for 9mm, which is still more than it was, but for 9mm, that's really cheap these days. So if they have the components to sell that stuff that cheap, then there's going to be less demand on ammo because everybody's going to buy their fill. So that means there will be an excess of reloading components, which in turn lowers the cost of reloading components because there's more supply. I realize I just sounded like a retarded economics teacher trying to explain it to like his 4-year-old self that still hasn't learned the lesson yet. Anyways, the market's going to get interesting this summer. We're going to see some very low prices. And now will be the time to stock up because the 4-year cycle happens every 4 years. They might not call it Sandy Hook, but there will be another thing which leads to people doing stuff. Know what I'm saying? Yeah, the industry is saying, oh, the fear is over. What do we do now? They aren't scared anymore, damn. Yeah, it's fear is incredible. Fear sells. Is fear... No, I don't know. Fear is like FOMO, except like a different emotion. Yeah. Because there's, like, you can panic buy and there's fear of shortages and whatnot. But then you also have, like, FOMO, where, fear of missing out, where, oh man, that's just so damn cool, I have to get it. And so there can be shortages created that way as well. Which probably doesn't happen as often, unless it's like fear created FOMO, I guess. Wow, I've never heard of those Serviosos primers, but I hear there's not going to be any others. There's no domestic ones that I've heard of. And I hear there aren't going to be any more for a very long time. So for fear of not being able to shoot, I'm going to jump on this FOMO deal because it's only going to be here and then gone. If you missed it, then you're out. Man, psychology's weird. Psychology is weird. Every time I think I'm onto something, I just realize how dumb I am and how little I know. Stocked up on primers last year. Trump was in office. Paid $79 for a sleeve of 5,000 Winchester. Nice. Bought 30,000. Yeah, that's probably what I'm going to do here. if we get back to the, well, if I can get it locally for the $30 per thousand mark, I'm going to collect them, we'll say. I'm going to collect a bunch whenever they reach that mark here locally. But I don't want to go too early because, you know, we're only on week 2 here, and if prices are going to fall for the next maybe 3 years before the next fear kicks in, it could be interesting to see how low it's going to go. But right now, since we've been okay, you know, people have been paying 6, 7, 8, 9 cents a primer, I'm going to be totally ecstatic to pay, what, $30 a primer or per thousand. So I can't even fathom going down to $79 for 5,000. That's crazy, brother. That sounds crazy, brother. I would probably have bought 30,000 as well. Since you mentioned it. I think I was barely into reloading the last year of Trump, or maybe his last 2 years or whatever. And then I don't want to say I was completely stocked up, because I've been replenishing my stocks over the past 4 years with overpriced shit, but I was in a better spot than a lot of people were who were just trying to get into loading at that time. But I was around for the Obama Sandy Hook magazine Take Your Scary Black Rifle phase. So I'd seen all that, but I hadn't seen it on the reloading side. And I just randomly decided to start reloading because my dad had always done it, so I'd been exposed to it. And then I'd finally gotten, you know, an apartment or wherever I had space to do it, and I was like, I think I want to start reloading. So I'm glad I started that kind of randomly. Turned out to be an opportune time to start stocking. Did the same thing with 22s. Yep, I'm actually just, it's really funny because I never really was into 22 before all the mess and silly stuff. The past 4 years, I've just been shooting 9mm because I've been able to load it for 3 to 5 cents a piece or whatever a primer cost when I bought in, like I was just saying. So I've been able to shoot 9mm cheaper than buying 22 long rifle pretty much up until this past like 6 months maybe. So I've since gotten a Kel-Tec P17 22 long rifle pistol. That thing's actually pretty fun. And the 22 conversion kit from CMMG, I picked one of those up for the AR upper. So I've since started shooting a lot of 22 now that it's actually cheaper than reloading 9mm. So you can bet I'm going to start piling on that as well. Mr. Thor, did you ever do any, did you ever get into like the bench rest or super accurate 22 long rifling? Because right now I'm just now jumping into it, and I'm in the, I need to stock up and have lots on hand phase. But eventually I'll have to start testing different ammos and try to do some accuracy at some point. But I hear the 22 is fairly limited, which actually makes it more fun because you have to learn the wind and your distance holdovers and whatnot. If you're shooting out past 50 to 100 yards, there's a lot of drop and difference in that. So as far as marksmanship and training and whatnot, apparently 22 is amazing. You just don't get the full recoil and report and all that. So it won't train you for that, but it'll teach you how to aim and point your gun and pull your trigger. Or even do some reloading work, different magazine drills and stuff. And if you, if you got your bug out rig, you can put that little CMMG conversion kit. It takes up the space of a magazine, and you can have like 500 rounds for it. And that takes up hardly any room in your bug out bag, and you can basically swap it with your AR that you're already carrying, and then you've got a squirrel gun or whatever. Just wait and look for the sales and buy them up, buy all your stuff that way. That's how you do it. Just like school teachers that take snow days for fear of getting in a wreck, school districts tell them to ride the bus with the kids. Yeah. Never did the bench rest thing. However, it's about ammo, lots, and brands. Yeah, and with a semi-auto AR conversion, I'm not sure what kind of precision I can even expect to hope to extract out of that. So, if I can run the gun and function and hit steel targets within their 50-yard range, I'm okay with that. Maybe one day if I get maybe a little bolt action, or I'll try and deck out a 10-22 or something silly. I don't know. Maybe if we do that someday, I'll worry about it. But since I'm just in the high capacity, since I'm in that phase of it, I just need to collect copious amounts of stuff that functions, essentially. Aside from the conversion kit not doing the bolt hold open on the last shot, it holds open on the last shot, but once you remove the magazine, it'll fall forward. The bolt does. So you still have to rack your charging handle again. I think somebody makes a little doodad you can install, but other than that, it's pretty similar to training on your AR. So you can work on your target acquisition and maneuvering in magazines and reloading and whatnot for the low cost of 5 to 6 cents, or however much you pay when you find a deal. Because I could buy, CCI mini mags for 15 cents a piece still. Or you get the Aguila Super Extras, which do the same velocity, 30 grain, 38 grain hollow point, or the 40 grain round nose. It's copper plated, so it's not exposed lead. Those are moving almost 1,300, like 1,280 or something, and they function and shoot really, really well. And like I said, in my AR blasting platform, I'm not going to see the difference between the mini mag and the cheaper Aguila at this point. So I might as well get whatever it is that I can feed them. So is anybody shooting this weekend? You going to go test some rounds out? You're going to do some loading? Are you brass prepping? What are you guys working on? What are y'all all working on? Oh, wow. Some chat. Sorry. If I remember right, you did a video on rim thickness of 22 LR. I don't think that I did. I know CW Longshot has done that, and that's actually where the 22 LR headspace is off the rim. So if you have a thicker rim, the bolt sits on that differently than a thinner rim, and it headspaces differently. So on and so forth. That's where you want to measure and sort your 22s, right? You just finished your 3K 9mm? Holy shit. You rock, brother. You have a good evening as well, sir. Thanks for stopping in. Have a fun time at the range. I like the Aguila and think the point of 22 is cheap and carefree, no brass reloading, but I can see the appeal of any precision. Still snowing here at Mr. Tactical Rabbit. Where are you located? I forget where you're at. Are you in the Dakotas? Is that you? I know we got Wyoming in the room here. Snowed a little here in northeast Wyoming. Oh, Minnesota. Sort my ammo for constant ignition. Same reaction, recoil in the hand when shooting the pistol, bullseye type shooting. Ah, okay. That makes sense. It would be fun. I've never had any, like, no real instruction, you know. I've always had Uncle Bob come out and show you how to shoot real good, and you got to pull here and push here and fight the recoil, brother. You know, I've not had any real instruction on aiming and marksmanship and whatnot, so it would be fun one time to do some kind of real formal training and learn a skill. Minnesota cleaned the porch and took the dog out. What kind of puppo you got? Mr. Travis, Colorado Fly Fisherman, what is up, brother? Just got some 4440 brass. It's been impossible to find. Just gotta get the dies. Well, now that you have brass, dies shouldn't be an issue, right? That should be pretty easy, right? We're about to overflow from our collection bin here. That primer doesn't feel like fun. I lied, it went in way too easily. Let's see if it comes out way too easily. No, it's not coming out. By the way, not an endorsement, but I freaking love this handheld depriming tool. If I'm here on the Progressive or whatever, and I get a flattened or weird primer, I can pop them out, toss the case, save the primer, whatever. Or you can just do some satellite depriming if you're into that. There's a little tube here that goes there to collect your primers, but you know, if you mess up a live one, you can sometimes salvage them from loose brass or whatever the case may be. So I like to keep that guy handy. But I felt like it went in way too easily. So I had to check it. And it didn't come out when I pushed on it, so there was obviously enough tension holding it in. It must have just seated so perfectly centered. There was zero resistance until, you know, bottoms out or Whatever. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah, that was another favorite part about starting to get into 22 is you don't have to pick up brass. Like I can just do silly dude bro mag dumps and not have to worry about it at all. Oh, he was saying that Thorzax did the video, and you did. Maybe I need to go back and watch it. Mom's dog, the Norwegian elk hound. I have never heard of that majestic creature, sir. Power check, yep. Norwegian elk hound. That sounds like a fairly large breed of dog. How big is a Norwegian elk hound by chance? I have a Great Pyrenees, and she was up to 120 pounds at her biggest when she was bigger, but now she's old and lost some weight. But you have one of the West, 22 pistols. We bought a Smith & Wesson Model 31. That's actually Dad's, but that pistol is freaking amazing. I need to borrow that thing. 12-year-old puppy. That pistol will shoot on par with any rifle at 50 yards. Talking quality rifles. Not... Damn, that's impressive, actually. Huh. Yeah, that Model 41, that guy is sweet, but that one belongs to Dad, so he's got it right now. But I do need to play with that again. Pops found an old 45 Colt, and I noticed the 45 LC he had didn't fit. The bullet nose got stuck on the barrel and blocked up the cylinder. Pretty naive, so only good for cowboy loads. There's something wrong. Are you saying like he fired around, boom, recoil happens, and then when he goes to pull the trigger, the action is turning the cylinder and it's getting bound up? Is that what you're saying? The bullet barely came out and it's stuck between the forcing cone and the cylinder? Or the next round came, had a little bit of setback, and that bullet came unseated and locked up the cylinder? Could be a couple things happening there. This one doesn't look very well swaged or reamed out, but we'll see here soon how easily this one goes in there. Uh-oh. Oh, okay. You just got to line them up, Purdy. But you can still see that crimp line. We did okay. We'll be all right. No, just long off the get-go. Well, then I guess that's your answer, sir. You need to start shorter from the get-go. Unless, is it a 45 Schofield? I think that's a shorter case, so it would have a shorter OAL. I don't know what pressure those run at, but I think it's the same rim as the 45 Colt. I'm probably wrong, but maybe his gun isn't actually chambered in 45 Colt. And the only other thing I can think of is 45 Cowboy Special, which is way more recent than whatever old gun you're talking about. And that's essentially a 45 ACP capacity with a rim that fits into the long Colt cylinders. And it's actually not long Colt, it's just 45 Colt because there is no 45 short Colt. That is the short one. Because you go from a 45 Colt to 454 Casull to 460 Smith & Wesson. So somewhere along the line, someone added a long in there. They were factory loads. Barrel said 45 Colt on it, if I remember. Huh. That's very interesting. I guess maybe just depending on, whenever that gun was created, depending on the bullet profile they might have modeled it on or designed the cylinder and stuff around. Maybe it was meant for a different profile. So if it's a round nose, it's like hitting parts of that the lead in the cylinder before the forcing cone, I guess. Is that what it's called? A little step down before forcing cone into the barrel. Maybe that is cut for a different bullet profile. I have no idea. I'm just throwing out crap here and seeing what will stick. That is interesting though. Maybe you could pull those bullets maybe and then see how much powder they have and maybe take an average, take out a tenth or two of powder and maybe try and seat those bullets in further. I don't know. Depends how willing you are to chase that project, I guess. Spot checks, because it's been a minute. Yeah, there's at least 3 different bullet profiles here. As long as we're under mag length, we're good. Wow, that one's... the last one was 225. This one is 2224. So yeah, obviously a variation in the overall length. But as long as they fit in the magazine and go bang, that's really all we need. If you have a bug out bag, you need to have seeds. That way you can grow crops. If you have crops, you have food. And then if you have food, you can get women. Sir, you're onto something here. You're onto something here. I really suck at, I don't have what you would call a green thumb. How about that? I can kill any plant you want me to grow like it's no one's business. I feel like gardening should be an essential skill that I should have been able to grasp by now, but must be all that public schooling and cloud seeding going on or something. Brass refill. Right there. I actually have like that many primers left because I couldn't top off the last tube there. I gotta look at it again. It was old. I used a mallet and seated the bullet deeper just to get it out. He's in California, so next time I'm out there, I'll look. I'm so sorry you had to visit California, sir. That's unfortunate. I feel your pain. I've visited California before myself. Took a couple days to wash it off of me. But in the end, we made it. You just have to cleanse yourself of California for a couple days. So this jug can hold 1,000 pieces of brass when they're not loaded. I wonder how many loaded rounds it can hold. I really want to fill up a 5-gallon bucket. It'd be really pretty much impossible to move, but I dream one day to have a 5-gallon bucket of the same ammunition. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to get I'm imagining 4,000 to 5,000 rounds would fill up a 5-gallon bucket. So that's at least 16 pounds of powder. So I'll have to get 2 8-pounders of the same lot of something. And then at least that many projectiles. And then if I'm actually going to do it, I'll do it right and trim all the brass and get it all purdied up. And make sure they're all matching. Then I'll have one bucket with one nice lot of ammo. Just like I was saying an hour ago, I have a bunch of crap with 2 pounds of this and 3 pounds of that and 2 pounds of this. So I have random Ziploc bags full of not quite 500 rounds. Some a little more, some a little less, but you get the point. It's just not the best way to load with 1 single pound of powder over and over and over and over and over again. This is actually running really smoothly though. No complaints on my behalf. Yeah, I couldn't justify upgrading. Well, aside from just wanting one, I'll probably have one eventually someday, but right now, I think this is an ample rate of reloading. So what I would gain from the other press wouldn't necessarily just be speed, but maybe more of a quality of life or just how it feels. Because having a case feeder run for you sure is nice. And then the automatically indexing shell plate would be nice once you get dialed in. Because Because if you're unaware, the 450, you have to manually index it. It does not move on its own when you come up or down on the handle. So that has to become part of your rotation. So I come down, I seat the primer there, and now I manually index. We go new brass, and then I grab down new bullet. And now we run again. Handle down, forward to prime, manually index, new brass, bullet stage 3, and back up. Yeah. The bucket will weigh 100 pounds. That's it? Based on how many rounds, because I don't actually know how many fit. But I know a loaded 50 cal can hold like 1,000 rounds if you really pack them in there. But I honestly don't have any idea what that weighs. So I guess, what is the volume of a 50 caliber ammo can? How many of those fit into a 5-gallon bucket? Would that be the easiest way to count? Actually, the easiest way to count would be just by tracking how many primers you use, or how many you start with versus how many are remaining when it's full. Speaking of, going back to our primer scarcity conversation and stocking up, I just thought about it. Oh golly, that feels like butt. Ooh, we're not going to be able to save him. Maybe. I doubt it. I bought some of that Primol compound. That one's not going to work. I probably went too far, but I'll decap this one and I'll show you what the issue was. This piece that was original. Well, no, this should be a twice fired piece by now. Huh. Must have been a really, really tight pocket. Kind of deformed my primer. It's hard to see, but it flattened out. See this little shiny spot on the left corner? Kind of flattened out. Interesting. Well, I don't know if the case is undersized. This should have already been twice fired. It's funny, I'm spending so much time on this one piece of brass and primer. Let's see if we can knock that edge off there. And now we are further reamed. Now you can see that shelf cut off. I'm going to try again. Oh, now it just falls in like a daggone hot dog down a hallway. And now it'll probably fall right out because I already... Nope. I win. Okay. Well, we spent an extra minute, but we saved that 5-cent primer there, right? Powder check. That one's actually over by 0.2. I'm not afraid. Because I'm still a grain under the maximum. I was probably just breathing on the scale, so that's why it read heavy anyways. Mm-hmm. Luther got that from one of Johnny videos about the seeds. Thing is, you'll need a gun to protect your crops and women from the other men. But you'll be able to have children. You can grow your own tribe where you are king. See now? That's the long plan, right? That's like the 30,000 foot view, right? Because it's like, all right, we got the 3-day bag. We can escape somewhere. Cool. That's the 3-day plan. And then you can go bug out to your bug out location. And that's the 30-day plan, right? You got your MREs and shit stored away. Whatever, you're good. But the 10-year, 30,000 foot plan, that's growing crops, finding a woman, starting a family, and then you're king of the tribe of the new apocalypse. You are on to something, sir. And I'm here for it. And I'm here for it. Although it is approximately 3 in the morning here. So I'm going to have to cut it off here shortly. We'll crank out a few more, but I'm going to cut her off here shortly and get breakfast going. But I do appreciate you guys hanging out. I know it's late for some of you, for everybody, really. Unless you're my one Argentinian or Japanese viewer. What's up, overseas fellers? So anyways, it's late. I'm sure some of you guys are tired. I know that I'm tired, but we can sleep here in a little bit. Although they're coming to work on the damn barn, so I gotta be up for that probably at 7. So who knows? They didn't give me a time, so that's kind of awkward. Just gotta kind of be up and ready for them to show up. They're actually a week ahead of schedule too. They told us 2 weeks out. They had some jobs to finish. And then yesterday they called and said, hey, we'll be out on Saturday. Do you have the gravel on site? Yeah, let me do that. So I had to get about 45 tons of gravel delivered this morning. So that was fun. Didn't know rocks were so expensive. They're actually not. It's the, the shipping and driving fee, Tell the wife it's important to get some seeds for your bug out bag. If she asks why, I tell her everything. Oh, don't worry. I'll inform her. Upgrade to the Lyman case tool. I freaking love this thing. I've had this since the very beginning. That's just how I reamed out my first several thousand 556 cases. And then I just stuck this little attachment on the case prep center. And that's pretty much how I deal with all my primer pockets. Not a good idea in my house. My wife has her own gun and she knows where I sleep. Yeah, my wife also has a gun, and I probably won't be the king of the apocalypse if she's around, because she'll be the leader of the apocalypse. I'm sure of it, right? I like how I space out these chats. I enjoy them very much. Not all the time, like last week, but when you do have it, it's real fun. Mr. Thor, I appreciate that. I feel bad that I don't do it more often. I try to go once a week, but life and whatnot, and honestly, like, I want to be able to put on a better, I don't want to call it a production, but I want to have higher quality content, I guess. Even if I'm just sitting here blabbing and talking, I want a higher quality camera. I want a higher quality microphone. And so I don't feel like, I don't want to say, I don't feel like streaming or videoing or whatever, but when I have subpar equipment and it doesn't feel good to put out a subpar product, I guess, if that's what the video is essentially. It's not as fun if you don't feel good about it, right? But that's why these are more casual and just laid back, because we're just here chatting, having a good time. But eventually, when I get the real setup, I hope to do it more frequently and in a not more controlled environment, but definitely a higher quality production for you guys. Hopefully a better viewing experience. How about that? I want to enhance the viewing experience instead of just being a schmuck on his phone. Does that make sense? Not being full on try hard, but we can do better than this, damn it. But I don't know why I feel like that all of a sudden. Not all of a sudden, but I've used my phone to make my videos and run my channel for 4 years now, so I don't know why it's any different, but I've always felt like I could have provided a higher quality production. Especially if you knew my background and what I did for a living for over 10 years. Like, wow, you should definitely be capable of that. Yeah. Ooh. It's gonna make the noise here soon. It's gonna make the noise. Whoop. Oh God. All right, that means there's only about 6 more primers, so we'll run them out here for tonight. All right. Anyways, long story short, we're rambling again, but I plan to stream more frequently and eventually produce videos again if I can provide them in a higher quality to my own liking. Still with the informal kind of chat feel we have going on, just open conversation, but I would like it for you guys to look better and sound better and all that. How many more primers do we have? Maybe 1 or 2? Did we get one there? Yeah. Anyways, guys, I really do appreciate you hanging out. I know you guys aren't expecting, a high quality production or whatever. We're just here for the laughs and the fun and, the good conversation. Or I am, at least. But it's like a pride thing. I want it to look better, damn it. And I appreciate you guys for hanging out through all that anyways. We just ran out of primers, so that's going to wrap it up for today. I'll probably be back tomorrow or Sunday, maybe, depending on what the schedule looks like. So anyways, appreciate you guys hanging out. We're going to wrap it up. Got all kinds of crap to go take care of, but we'll see you next time, hopefully. Maybe tomorrow, maybe in a week from now. So, you guys have a good one. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Peace.